Okay, welcome. This is Andy Lee Graham, and I'm in San Pedro, Lake Atalan, San Pedro La Laguna, Lake Atalan, Guatemala, and it's one of the perfect climates on the planet. And that's saying a lot because I've been to 114 countries, and I've been to about, I don't know, 15 of the major, what they would call never-ending spring locations, and this is one of the best. Okay, and it's also considered one of the most beautiful lakes on the planet, according to Aldous Huxley, but he's not here right now. Okay, but I would consider it a very beautiful lake, especially if you go up high. Um, I'm going to talk today about journals. Okay, a journal is something you do daily, and then a journal, a diary, and a blog is about the same. Okay, a blog, if you write a blog every day, is sort of a type of a journal. And but I'm going to go through it. But I have these notes, and they'll be in they're in the live already. I concurrently run this thing where I record this and I go live at the same time in the hope that I could get some really great questions. Okay. Because I would do much better if I was in a dialogue, right? I'm have trouble concentrating when I'm talking to myself. But I want to tell you, I have always said this, and I've been saying it for almost 25 years. When I write in what I call a propositional methodology. And the hold on one second. I write in a propositional way. And what that means is I'm proposing an idea. I'm not saying that it's a fact. I'm not saying that I'm a teacher. I'm saying this is one possible way to do it. Okay? And because that is passive tone, it's not active tone. When you take writing in university or whatever, they want you to do it. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm in Solar Pools. Restaurante Solar Pools. So this has some of the best organic coffee on the lake. Most of the coffee on the lake is burnt. This is not burnt coffee. It's not like Starbucks where they burn the coffee and you have to put sugar and all this cinnamon in it. This is actually great coffee. But the propositional thing is the idea whether I'm writing or I'm making a video, I'm proposing something. I'm not trying to say that there's only one way. And any expert on the planet is going to know that there's 2 ways of doing everything or 10 ways of doing everything. Nobody is the correct way. But writing a journal is a personal experience. And I've written over 15,000 times. 15,000 times I woke up in the morning, like right now, almost every morning of the week, I wake up and write something. And I write whether it's for the video and I'm including the link inside the video, or right now I'm writing chapters to a book I'm writing. And I really want feedback. On the other side is to let somebody see your journal. To have a detraction is to have, anonymous people. Right? They are just a problem on the planet. Okay. But I'm writing I'll start reading some of this because I actually wrote this out as a chapter for a book I'm writing that's called Andy Lives in an Alternate Universe, 25 Years as a Tribe of One in 100 plus countries. That's going to be the proposed name of the book. I write, I make videos. I propose that this could be true or in my opinion and nothing more. Okay, journaling and reflection. Henry David Thoreau wrote Ralph Waldo Emerson is like the wood god who solicits the wandering poet. Very seductive are the first steps from the town to the woods, but the end is wanton madness. Ralph Waldo Emerson is explaining that when Henry David Thoreau went to the woods, it's sort of a type of madness, okay? And that is what journaling is, because you're talking to yourself, okay? Want and madness. Writing is how we introduce our subconscious minds to the true desires of our conscious minds and allow our secret wishes to become reality. This is my quote. Writing is how we introduce our subconscious mind to the true desires of our conscious mind. Okay, so what I'm saying there is that we have this subconscious in the back of our mind. We really don't know who we are. And how do we know who we are is by writing, okay? Because when we write, it sort of just comes out. It's like a Freudian slip in a way. You true beliefs start appearing on the paper, and you go, I didn't even think that. I just said it, right? Sometimes when I'm talking, I just accidentally say what I'm really thinking, and I say it in a clearer way than it's in my brain. In the brain, it's abstract. When it comes out of my mouth, it becomes reality, and when it comes to reality, I have more understanding of who I am. Okay, but we all have a desire to be known. We all have an innate, intrinsic, intimate desire to have somebody know who we are. And that's what is hopefully a marriage between a man and a wife. It's a relationship where they pretty much read each other's minds, okay? Talking to ourselves has great value, whether we admit it or not. It sounds foolish as we are in never-ending conversation and continuous dialogue with ourselves. Mad people talk to themselves. When you meet a mad person, a crazy person on the planet, the one earmark almost always of madness is they're sitting around walking down the street talking to themselves. And guess what? I walk down the street talking to myself, but I just don't do it out loud. My mother used to, when she walked around the house, would talk out loud. My sister does the same thing, and I go, guys, I can actually hear what you're thinking, but Henry David Thoreau wrote a journal for many years, one of the most famous journalizing people on the planet. He wrote, I think, 2 books, but then he had this journal that went on forever, right? And if you watch or read or watch videos or understand anything about transcendentalists, Ralph Waldo Emerson, I think Margaret Fuller, Walt Whitman, all these guys, a lot of famous people journalize. And it's, in a way, a lot of people meditate. And you could call meditation in the morning a type of journalizing. It's an introspection, you're thinking, and you're trying to focus on what you're talking about, right? But it's not obvious to people why they wrote right. 25 years ago, when I first started traveling, almost 50% of the travelers had a kind of a travel journal. It was a great time to travel because when I started traveling, I saw a girl the other day in Sababa, the Israeli. She was actually had a journal and she was writing in the journal, except she was really making it work. Okay, a lot of people will no longer just free flow. They got to work at what they're working at writing, and that's kind of the opposite of writing. Writing is something you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to write it down. That's writing. A writer to me cannot stop themselves from writing because once you're addicted to writing, and I'm 100% addicted to writing to myself. I make these videos and I'm making them for myself because it's also a type of journal. If you make a video by taking your subconscious mind and talking, you take the innermost feelings in your mind and you express them from abstract to reality. This to me is the value of journaling. Henry David Thoreau is a great example, though. If you read, I'm reading a book called A Life by Laura Dawson Walls, and it's absolutely, I would almost say she's as good a writer as Henry David Thoreau. And she explains all the nuances of his mind, and it's just an excellent book. I'm going to interview her, I hope, here at the end of January. I'm trying to find people that anybody knows anybody that is a teacher of Henry David Thoreau or even maybe Ralph Waldo Emerson. I would like to have an ongoing Zoom conversation where we record it, publish it on, so I can expand my understanding of my hero, Henry David Thoreau. But why write? I'm continuing with the chapter here. Why write? I, Andy Lee Graham, have written almost daily for over 25 years. At first, when I started, my never-ending world travels, I thought to myself, if I write a weekly travel newsletter, then I can sell items to my readers and earn money. So I didn't do it to become a writer. I did it to earn money because I knew that if I had a continuing in internet parlance, they say that if a person sees your advertisement 7 times, that's when they buy. And I wrote a newsletter over 200 times. So 200 weeks in a row, I wrote a newsletter and I sent it out to different groups. Okay. But I fell in love with writing and myself. Because what you do when you journalize or you have a journal or a blog or a daily thing, you have to enjoy who you are. Okay. It's always funny when somebody sabotages and they make a video that is pretty much a lie, which is about 95% of travel videos. And they're creating an image that is a lie of themselves. And that's really sad because there's nothing worse than pretending to be somebody you're not. There's a movie about that where this guy pretends to be in the Nazi. He pretends to be a Nazi person, and he says, "Be careful what you pretend to be." Right? Okay. When I traveled to Iraq in September and August of 2003, I started a blog. That's when I started. 2003 is I started a blog, which is different than a newsletter. I started the blog, which was supposed to be considered a daily log, and they have never been a daily log. They've been daily articles, except for me. I made a daily log for almost 2 or 3 years. A sort of online journal, a daily diary where readers could comment below or writing. And this used to be really enjoyable to have all the comments below your blog because when I first started, they were all nice. And then somewhere along the line, these people became trolls and they realized that they could get more people to interact with them, that they were trolls and angry and they mean-spirited people. So almost everybody I know that had a travel website or a blog, when I first started in 2003, I started traveling in 1998. But in 2003, when I actually started the blog, I don't know anybody that's blogging because they almost all gave up on the trolls because the trolls just armchair quarterbacks, right? But the comments used to be really invigorating and they used to be fun to read. Now, it's like here, I have to block a lot of people. I'm going to block anybody that isn't using their real name on my YouTube channel. If you're not using a real name and it's not quite obvious that you're straightforward, transparent, first name and last name. Okay, but why did I blog? I first believed that by explaining what was going on in my mind when I entered an extremely dangerous country like Iraq, the Iraq war had just ended, that I could explain all the travel skills you need to enter dangerous places. So that's why I started. The heavy fighting had ended a couple months before. It was a great time to be in the country. The people were happy. They had been liberated from a truly dangerous dictator. I saw a mass grave in Iraq with 2,700 graves. And it was sad because the United States Army had taken them out of the ground and put them into individual graves. And then they put all their clothing on top of each one of these graves. And then they put a little piece of paper or something. Then it was sad. I started crying. I mean, when you think of 2,700 bodies that were Muslim too, because they got to be buried within 24 hours, dumped in a hole by Saddam Hussein. And as I understand, there was about 50 of these mass graves in the country of Iraq. He was a horrible dictator. And we did a great service to the world by getting rid of him. But the reason why we had to get rid of him is because he kept threatening to throw nuclear bombs at Israel, which would have created an Israeli would have eventually nuked him, right? But this man killed and dumped into a long trench. I was a witness and written my journal, my online blog. I'm trying to define what a blog is, a journal is, a diary is. They're all merging. But really what it is we're talking to ourselves. Right now, guess what I'm doing? I'm talking to myself, okay? I have to have an ongoing dialogue with myself just to do this. Henry David Thoreau, when he wrote the book Walden, in many ways wrote the story of his life. And that is what a diary is, right? It doesn't mean that a lot of people think they have to write a diary of their life and it has to have meaning to the world. That's wrong. The meaning it has is by making you a better person. That's what a journal does, a diary does, a blog does. Me making this video today, I become a better person by talking. I become what I, in a way, we say what we're going to do, and then we become this person. So what comes out of my mouth is what I want to be, and there's eventually a correlation between what we say and what we do. A really functional person says what they're going to do and does what they say. A dysfunctional person always has a sabotage. A dysfunctional person, for example, says, I'm going to meet you at thing and I'll maybe be there. That's a dysfunctional comment. A deliberate person says, I'll be there at 2 and arrives 15 minutes early. Okay. What he did and what was important to him, not to us. So we're writing a diary, not, that's the problem with journals. That's the problem with online blogs or even YouTube channels, especially the travel ones. They pander to the audience or they pander to the advertisers and they tell people what they want to hear. That is sabotaging your own personal mental mastery of your soul. You are a soulless person when you lie to yourself. This is my opinion, and it's the journal. It's a never-ending story of our lives, and everything written down. It's when we allow our subconscious mind. I'm going to keep talking about it. It's a correlation. You're allowing your subconscious mind to be put onto a computer screen. You're saying it. You're just talking. If you talk to a psychiatrist, unfortunately, fortunately, I've talked to quite a few counselors, mostly alcohol counselors, and I haven't drank for 37 years, but I even right now will have a conversation with my mother. Mom, what do you think I should do about this situation? And I always know the answer to the question before I'm finished, right? She always tells me the answer. It's when we allow our subconscious mind to talk that we write. It's when the mind is allowed the freedom. We're allowing our mind the freedom to wonder on what it wants to ponder. It's a wonder. It is, again, a long conversation between our secret subconscious mind and the conscious mind. You guys can all read this in the thing. You can actually read it because I'm having trouble. Oh, I have trouble reading my own writing, right? Why? Because, I don't know. I've just got too many thoughts in my brain. It is how we can merge ourselves into one person. So a journal takes your mind and merges it into one person. And this is, if you study, like in this book, Alive by Laura Dawson Walls, after Thoreau wrote the book and after he became a more mature man as time went on, right? And she explains that, see, when he wrote the civil disobedience, essay on civil disobedience, he was a purist. He really thought that slavery should end, and he had some really moralizing. He did a lot of moralizing, and what was great about him is there's a great concurrence or consistency between what he said and what he did. He often had a problem with Ralph Waldo Emerson because Ralph Waldo Emerson wanted him to be more practical and not explain everything, especially when Henry David Thoreau would kind of criticize the church. A lot of people hate me. Why do they hate me? Is because I don't know how you can hate a guy making a video, right? But they do. How do they hate you when you ride a truck? Because what you did is I explained what they were thinking, and they realized I was telling the truth, and they realized that I was passing judgment on them, even though I don't know them. Okay? I mean, how do I pass judgment on a person I don't know? I basically set up a scenario when I'm talking on how people behave, and a scenario where they understand that I'm describing them. And then they think I somehow attack them. Not really possible. When I say that I'm a recovering alcoholic, I normally get a lot of hate mail. And why? The reason why I get hate mail is because the person failed at staying sober, so they want to try to punish me, right? It's kind of like an abused child uh, grows up and abuses his children. It's an ugly part of dysfunctional behavior. Learning to learning to journal is not the goal here. I don't want you to think about learning to journal. That is the wrong thing to do. The goal is to write to ourselves a letter. You're writing to yourself, explaining how we think and feel. Definitely say the word feelings, okay? What you're doing is relatively boring and it's sort of like a non-entity. How we feel is what's important. How you feel is 10 times more important than what you're doing. The experiences that we go and have experiences, then we need to talk about those experiences to somebody. That's why sharing your life with a husband or wife is a great idea. Anybody that doesn't want to share their thoughts with anybody, I'm not sure what to do with them. Okay. Uh, but when we write, we have to, or we have an obligation in a way to ourselves to make things appear logical and consistent. Congruency, okay? We want our lives to make sense. We are talking to ourselves, and by journalizing, we want our life to make sense. We want it to have meaning. So the value of a journal is never ending, okay? And if you can get up and you can write just 2 sentences a day, and you do see a habit is established after about 27 days, and to fall in love with writing takes a lot of time. But anybody that ever would dream about writing a book should fall in love with writing, so that they just write because they love to write, not because they're trying to be famous. Trying to be famous is absolutely the worst reason to write. How do you think about things? So I've got a quote here by Rudyard Kipling. Wrote, "I keep 6 honest serving men." Why am I doing this? This is the interrogatives, and I want you to, when you start to write, you write who, when, where, why, what, how, and how much money. Why do I do that? Especially important if you're writing an advertisement. Okay, but I used to try to get my people that were writing advertisements to always sit there and say, does it include the who, where, why, what, how? I said, Ken, you didn't include the address of the property we're trying to sell. Okay, but he's got a he's calling them my 6 honest serving men. I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I know. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. I send them over land and sea. I send them east and west. But after they have worked for me, I give them all a rest. I let them rest from 9 till 5, for I am busy then, as well as breakfast, lunch, and tea. For they are hungry men, but different folks have different views. I know a person small. She keeps 10 million serving men, who gets no rest at all. She sends them abroad on her affairs from the second she opens her eyes. 1 million hows, 2 million wheres, and 7 million whys. It's from the book by Rudyard Kipling called The Elephant Child. The who, when, where, why work for you because they keep you in the game. Okay, we're in a game of life. And who I am, what I am, why I am, where I am is who I am to me. And to fall in love with yourself, they have to be honest workers. Okay. Honest friends, when we journal, we learn to be honest. It really, I think it'd be pretty hard to journalize in a dishonest way. I'm not sure if a person could continue. I know that blog posts and YouTube, they lie continually because they're just wanting money and they want to be liked. Okay, they're pandering to the audience. So anybody that writes a I have almost zero use for travel videos. They're just sacks of lies. I've been to these places and I go, why would I? Somebody says watch these things, and I say why? It's just a crap. But people want to be famous, so they write to people what they want to hear, and that is a betrayal to yourself. I add the phrase "how much" to the 6 honest men. How much money? Because almost always includes money. This is too difficult to read. Okay, at the end, the final paragraph in this thing says, start writing until you know your voice, your style, until it becomes quite clear that until you write it down, it does not exist. See, until I write it down, whatever my thoughts are don't exist. I have to write it down. I have no choice. Then show it to your trusted friends, the 6 or 7 honest friends who know you and yours. By showing it to your friends, you can't hide your dysfunctional behaviors. And this is a very valuable thing to do, because if you really talk about Alcoholics Anonymous or AA or self-help groups or Weight Watchers or all these different types of 12 groups and adult children alcoholic, what they do is they get together and they talk out loud and they say some situation they're dealing with. And it's a way of purging ourselves of the sins of the world. We all have a monkey on our back. We're not always proud of who we are. And if you have to start talking and explain what you did all day, not trying to be famous, not trying to pander, but you're just saying, this is how I dealt with things, and these are the honest truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. When you only have the good, you're lying to yourself. There is no such thing as an all good travel situation. I'm laughing because I wish that, I wish there was any kind of balance. The only person I know is Fred Ruddick of, Fast Fred's thing. He will say when he has a problem what he did the day before. He's very honest. I have hardly ever met a blogger or a YouTube channel person that told the truth on travel. They write to pander to the audience so that they can feel that they can get the love and affection. And all you got is a lie, right? If a writer or a video person never offends you, guess what? They're a liar. But the worst thing you're lying to is yourself. Okay, that's Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? This will be in the description of this video when I publish it. And now I'm going to go back to being live. And then I need money. Hey, I don't have enough money to travel. I need about an extra $300 a month. So please become a Patreon member or join my YouTube channel and help me keep on keeping on. I'm here and you're not. Why not? Why am I here? It's because I know who I am. The mastery of your emotions is best done by talking to yourself or talking to your friends. If you keep everything a secret, we're as sick as our secrets. I truly believe that. The more secrets you have, the more things you cover up, the more you have these inside things that you only tell your male friends or you only tell your girlfriends. This is sort of the ultimate dysfunctional behavior. Okay, I'm here and you're not. Why not?